Assalamualaikum and hello to our lectures and to our fellow friends. Today we are from Group 5. We want to explain to you about our investment portfolio. Okay? Before we start, I will introduce to you all my group members, which is including myself, Adef Daniel bin Marapi, number matrix 2019203004. Next, our investment portfolio is about we have been appointed as a fund manager and we must advise our client that have 1 million ringgit to do an investment that we suggest. Okay, for the first investment is unit trust. So we must invest through trustee company and our money will be pooled in one fund UTMC, Unit Trust Management Company, and it will be managed by one professional fund manager and it will be invested in different assets. Next, I suggest to our client to invest using cash. For the trustee company, I will suggest using Amanah Raya, and for the UTMC is using Amanah Mutual Berhad. The reason that I choose Amanah Mutual Berhad because of the net profit plus capital is average price, and also the total return over 3 years is quite high, which is 13.24%. And also the good thing is there are no sales charge. For our capital required, 100,000 ringgit is more than enough to invest for this investment. For the fee and charge, they only have management fee and also trustee charge. For management fee is 1.5% every year, and also and trustee charge is very small amount of charge. The risk is fund management risk and currency risk.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Naika. So today we're gonna explain about the investment, but one of them is investment in property. Okay, so number one is choose the house. We have choose the house that located at the city because it's easier for the tenant or the owner of the property itself to go to the city, okay, to buy a food or anything they need. So it's very important to find the house that located at the city. Number two is the house, because we have decided to just only invest 400k in this property investment, so we don't want house that too much expensive to the buyer or to the client. Okay, so number three, we prefer the landed property, not the high rise building, because landed property is easy for we to resell it again. Okay, so number four, that property that tenant willing to lease. Alright, we want the best for the uh, tenant and the client. So we want a strategic place that not easy to get flood, not easy to get the natural disaster, etc. Alright, so we want the property that safe, where the crime is very low. Okay, so that is the characteristic we want. Okay, so uh, that's all from me. Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Aisyah Farhana binti Muhammad Tahir from class 3E. I'm going to continue with the bond investment. The amount of investment we decided to put on bond is RM300,000. What is bond? Bond is a fixed income instrument or debt security. Bond is the type of investment that result in an investor lending money to the bond issuer in exchange for interest payment. That means, bond represent a loan from the buyer to the issuer of the bond. Bonds are issued by government and corporation when they want to raise money for a specific projects. By buying a bond, you are giving the issuer a loan, and in return, the bond issuer promise to pay back the investment with interest over a certain period of time. Why does we choose to put this amount of investment in bond? Because the volatility of bonds is lower than others. Bonds do experience lower volatility day by day, and the interest payment of bonds are sometimes higher than the general level of dividend payments. Bonds are often liquid. It is often fairly easy for an institution to sell a large quantity of bonds without affecting the price much, which may be more difficult for equities. What are the expected return for bond? The investor receives periodic interest payments known as coupons. The coupon payments, which may be made quarterly, twice yearly, or annually, are expected to provide regular, predictable income to the investor. At the end of the bond's life, which is known as maturity, the principal or face value is paid back to the investor. The higher the credit rating, the lower the risk and its potentially to receive a lower returns. Meanwhile, a lower rating is deemed to have a higher risk and potentially to receive a higher returns. Credit rating refers to the ability of the bond issuer to make all required interest payments and to repay the principal balance on time. Overall, we can conclude that bond is a low-risk investment, especially bonds under government and high-grade corporate.
Hello, my name is Mirza Irfan bin Abdul Muiz. My matrix number is 2019243184, and now I want to explain about stocks and shares. Stock is all the shares into which ownership is divided. Stock can be bought and sold privately or on stock exchanges. It is heavily regulated by the government because the government want to prevent fraud and to protect the investors. As for shares, shares represent a fraction of ownership in a business. So where do we want to invest for stock and shares? In Malaysia, investment for stock can be done at Bursa Malaysia. So how to invest? First of all, open a central depository system account. Second, open a trading account with a stockholder. Third, get a reminiscer. So reminiscer is the one who help you to sell the stock at the price that you want. The last one is choose a market that you are interested in and that you can afford. So now the capital required, or how many required to invest. Some of the stockholder offer a minimum of 5 ringgit and some others offer around 500 ringgit until 1,000 ringgit to buy a stock. As for the return and risk, the return are divided into two. First of all, positive return. It is where you sell the stock at a higher price than the price you buy the stock. And negative return is where you sell the stock at a lower price. As for the risk for shares are high and for the stock are low. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. I'm Emilia Natasha binti Sofi, 2019297408. Today I will present about the conclusion. In the conclusion, I will tell you guys the best investment that we will suggest to our client. The best investment that we will suggest to our client is property investment. It is because property market is more stable than other markets, which is mean that property investment will give a fixed return to the investor. Next, hedge against inflation. This means that if cost of living increase, so do properties prices. For example, as inflation increase, property investor can raise up amount of the rent. For expected return, there are two, which is capital gain and income returns. Capital gain can be only received when the investors sell off their investment. For example, property investor can sell off their property when the market value of the property increase, so that the property value is higher and more than the purchase price. Income return is an income that investor will receive monthly or annually. For example, property investor can rent out the property and usually will be receive income from the tenants monthly. Property investment involve a high risk. One of the risks is liquidity risk. Liquidity risk is a difficulty to convert the property into the cash at the market value in a short time. Reason why we choose high risk investment because return is much higher even though risk also high. it is because of the relationship between the risk and return. Next, it is because property gives more benefits to the investor than the risk.